this kind of takes me back to a point.
Oh, it takes me back too. To the good old days where I didn't know that internet apologists and various other cranks existed and said really, really silly things all the time. It was good times where you only ever got confronted with abject stupidity when you spoke to your ridiculous uncle or that second cousin first removed to the revenge who genuinely thought he was the first person to ever say, "What if time am not real?" That, or you'd have to be wandering the streets and some guy with a megaphone shouting slogans that didn't mean anything, while they have shouting matches with anyone who so much as rolled their eyes at them. But nowadays, everybody has a stupid opinion and a megaphone. Hey, that's me included. I genuinely don't think that bees produce honey. Think about it. Has anyone tried just letting the hive sit there without covering them in insects? It's the beekeepers hiding secrets, I swear. Or secrets, I guess.
That I heard Stephen Fry discussing an interview where the interviewer said to him, should he approach the pearly gates and he saw God, what would he say? And Stephen Fry replied,
I remember that. That was a while ago. But as with all things on the internet, it doesn't really matter how old something is, as long as people are still seeing it. It will be worth talking about. But yeah, to remind you of the exact thing and how it was said, I'm going to play a clip instead of just letting Mr. Monotone here tell us what he said. We will hear it in his own words. Take it away, Steve.
I'd say bone cancer in children? What's that about? How dare you? How dare you create a world in which there is such misery that is not our fault? It's not right. It's utterly, utterly evil. Why should I respect a capricious, mean-minded, stupid God who creates a world which is so full of injustice and pain?
And yet, while I essentially agree with its content, I do find it a little, preachy. And since preaching is a you guys thing, that does tend to make it inherently kind of hard to listen to. But again, the actual substance of what he said is pretty solid. It is a fair point to notice that a God that is claimed to be all good would allow such horrors in the world and still expect to be treated like he hadn't. Also, in his retelling, he misses out on the evil bit.
Much misery that it's not our fault. Why should I respect a capricious...
And I don't know if that's like intentionally trying to hide it or just trying to shorten it down, but it is a little weird. And it would give you the whole God am not evil because he says so argument for you to use and then for me to make fun of. Basically, I'm saying that I'm the victim here.
And on this point, I guess that really does bring us to the point at which you described it there about if there was this idea about...
Oh, dude, you really need to stop advertising and start writing down your points so you don't say point 18 quadrillion pointing times and they're about ideas pointy point. Do you see how annoying that is? Point me.
Why would a God kind of allow that kind of suffering? And you've got some really interesting views, I know, on this.
Well, before he gets to his interesting views, which I can only assume is code for idiotic nonsense, there are lots of ways a god could allow that, as there are any number of ways an all-knowing creator being would or could be that way. But most of them boil down to he's not good, or at the very least, is not all good / maximally good, or however you want to put it. And then there's maybe he literally can't prevent evil for whatever reason, which leans into the not all powerful portions of things. Basically, the point often is that all-knowing, all-powerful, and all-good are contradictions in terms when presented with a universe that contains suffering. Your best move is to just go, well, yeah, the book screwed that bit up, and he's kind of just a dude who likes to make stuff. Give him a fucking break.
Well, I must be honest, I'm not impressed with that kind of reaction.
Oh, were we here trying to impress John fucking Lennox? I mean, I don't think Stephen Fry was all those years ago, and I genuinely don't think anyone who disagrees with you is trying to impress you. Often we're just pointing out where you say really stupid shit, which you do, like, a lot. How you became an allegedly respected academic is frankly baffling to me.
Because he's leaving out how much good there is in the world.
Really? That's your great me I'm not the impressed rebuttal. That's just fan-fucking-tastic. Again, the point isn't that good exists. It's that a god who demands worship and has a book about what a stand-up guy he is that for some reason makes him look like the biggest asshole in history really should fire his publicists, but that he would create a world with pain and suffering, but no one should criticize the guy It's a bit rich. Also, here's two worlds represented as bowls. One has 4 goods in it and an evil. The other has 8 goods in it, but also 8 evil. Which bowl is the better one to exist in? Is it the one that's a bit evil, or the one that's half evil, but also there's technically more good in it? Frankly, it's a pretty fucking weird metric, mate, and even more confusing if you have one bowl with 1 good and no evil, versus one with 1,000 good and even so little as 10 evil. No matter how much good you add to the second bowl, it's literally infinitely more evil than the first. And I don't know about you, mate, but God allowing infinite evil sounds kind of fucked up when you put it like that.
And how much good he himself has taken out of the world.
Whoa, what the hell do you mean by that? Do you mean that Stephen Fry is some sort of goodness extracting machine? He made Eggy in the Basket in V for Vendetta. Eggy in the Basket, the most objectively fun and tasty breakfast you can have after Whiskey-O's cereal, the cereal that's not a cereal and just an excuse to get shit-faced in the morning. Even if we go with the most charitable interpretation, the way you make it sound is as if good things are a zero-sum game, that there's some kind of finite amount of nice things happening to people, and that apparently Stephen has had his fair share. That means he doesn't get to ask questions. Very strange.
And he might have to thank God for that.
What the fuck has that got to do with anything he said? Here's all these horrible things that happen under your administration. Hey, I may have allowed all that death, pain, suffering, and whiskey shortages, but don't forget that you had a puppy. Look at a puppy. Look at a little puppy. Seriously, the best you could hope for is I had some nice things in my life, okay. Anyway, about all those starving children with super cancer. Do you not see how there might be more pressing matters? And fuck, what if he had the worst life possible? What if he had absolutely nothing going for him? What if he was John Lennox? Would God be able to talk about the good things that happened to him? The empty skull with just the word smug written on a piece of paper in it? That wasn't good for any of us.
My own position on this is that
me am big smart and Stephen am big stupid. Now put me on another podcast where I can make a fool of myself and another bunch of idiot theists tout me as a big brain smart guy. Can you tell how impressed I am with old John Boy here?
that kind of question, in the end, when it's looked at a philosophical level, is unanswerable.
Wait, what question? Are you saying the question that Stephen was asked? Or do you think that Stephen's answer was supposed to actually be a question or questions? Because on the first part, we don't need to answer that at the end. We can answer it now and then find out later if we can call God a prick to his big prick face. Or we can't because, you know, he's not real. And if it's the second, you know, those aren't actually questions. Those are rhetorical questions. Questions you aren't actually supposed to answer, but that are designed to demonstrate some kind of point. Frankly, either way, you're not exactly showing exemplary wording skills, damn.
We've all asked ourselves, surely a good and powerful God would, should, could, must, all this kind of stuff.
Not good and powerful, all good and all-powerful. Traits gifted to him by your book, though. It makes him incredibly contradictory on the face of it, and that's something you have to contend with. The Athey boys like me and S. Frizel, it's not actually all that hard to figure out God doesn't real, and is just made-up nonsense. People from the before 4 times used to explain the everything when they didn't know anything about anything, which was perfectly reasonable at the time, but is significantly less reasonable today.
When we were students.
Well, I'm sure you did only think about that back when dinosaurs roamed the earth, but other people actually continue to consider such questions instead of just deciding they're right and that everyone else is a big wrong dum-dum. Perhaps if you in fact questioned your various idiotic beliefs every few years, we wouldn't be having this whole Sick video problem now, would we? No one is happy about any of this.
And we never got a satisfactory answer.
The answer really isn't the point, though. The discussion is the point. The continued discussion, instead of, well, me, I'm getting no answer, therefore there am no answer, is just intellectually lazy. Even the shit I know I don't know, I still work under the assumption that given the right circumstances, there could be an answer. Like how the universe began, or what caused the first self-replicating life form, or where does bourbon come from. We may never know the answers to these for definitive fact, but that doesn't mean that we shouldn't shouldn't ask, or that it's just somehow a thing only for students. I mean, certainly not. They're drunk enough.
And as a mathematician, I'm interested.
Whoa, I'll stop you there. As a mathematician, you're interested in dick. No, seriously, when it comes to the kind of question, why is there evil in the world that was allegedly made by a good God? There's no answer that anyone is going to think is worth a damn that goes along the lines of, well, you see, when you square the hypotenuse with an equilateral triangle and then subtract the negative space from an imaginary number, it's clear as 1 + 1 = spoon that God am real and allows evil because it's really, really funny. Although, to be fair, God allows evil for his prank show does seem more likely than most theist ideas.
In questions that don't have satisfactory answers.
I'm not going to lie, but you make it sound like you're just not very good at math. No, you don't understand. It's not that I don't know how to solve for X. It's that I actually think not knowing the answer to X is so much more interesting than actually being able to know things. Oh shit, that is exactly what so many theists do. No, we shouldn't even try to find answers to life's big questions, because isn't it just much better to not answer them at all? Or at least just answer them with God without actually putting any effort in. Don't worry about the fact that seemingly every time we do find new answers, it makes my religious text seem more and more obviously preposterous or anything like that. It's fine.
Because in mathematics, they're usually the wrong question. And
So apparently not only are you bad at answering, you're also bad at questions. Damn, man, this is not looking good for you. Starting to think that maybe you should give up on this whole talking about anything, everything. I do not think it's working out. Yes, that was a maths pun.
it's the approach that I adopt is to, and it's a mathematical one, is to say, am I here asking the wrong question?
I still don't know which question you think you are answering, because everything you have said has nothing to do with either the one Steve-O was asked or what he said in response. At this point, I'm not sure you even know what was said. Perhaps you've just heard a bunch of static when the other guy was talking, and instead of asking him to repeat himself, you just started talking about how you're a super smart mathser and hope that no one would notice.
Because let's see what the facts are.
There is no evidence for God existing at all, and if he does exist, then the existence of evil proves that he's either not all-powerful or not all good. So the Bible's definition is wrong. Cool. I mean, I don't know how the fuck that helps you, but they are some pretty good facts. Also, asking what the facts are in math seems odd. Isn't it just what the numbers and variables are? Maybe I'm just reading too much into it. I guess there is no answer.
As we look at this world, we see a mixed picture. I often call it bombs and barbed wire and beauty.
So 2 objective things and 1 subjective as fuck thing. I mean, even if we give them all the same status, you're still 2/3 presumably bad stuff. Fuck. I thought I was pushing it when I made the ratio 50-50, but this guy thinks there's basically fuck all good stuff in the world, let alone the fact that good is apparently based on personal preference.
On the one hand, there's so much beauty. On the other hand, there are bombs and barbed wire.
Oh, you said bombs. I thought you said bone. Also, yeah, aside from the, not speaking clearly thing, that's the same thing stated twice in a row. I'm starting to worry that this is his entire point. Things am pretty and also things am dangerous. Wee.
And any philosophy worthy of the name, any worldview that could be taken seriously, must face those 2 issues.
No, what? That's not how philosophies work. Any philosophy includes philosophies of fucking aesthetic and language, and even meta-ethics doesn't actually have to address it directly, since these ideas should be able to function regardless of the world state. Now, if you're talking about a comprehensive philosophy, fine, but just because something doesn't cover literally everything doesn't mean it doesn't get to be called a philosophy, for fuck's sake.
Now,
or much, much later, apparently. I'm sorry, but come on. That is a perfectly timed dramatic pause for comical effect, if there ever was one, made funnier still by it almost certainly being completely unintentional.
my question is, and it's a harder question in a sense than the first one.
So instead of saying pretty much anything about what Steve said, except don't forget you had good things and also pretty things exist, it is to now come up with a new question, one that he is absolutely not going to fucking answer, because why would he? Deflection, thy name is John Lennox.
But I think it takes us further. And it is granted that that is so, we all have to accept that. Is there anywhere any evidence that there is a God who understands it and could help us to live with it?
Oh my God, there is so much wrong with that. Ignoring the blatant goalpost shifting and the fact that it doesn't answer anything thus far. It doesn't even get you to an answer that would be getting us anywhere else. It's more, hey, this is how it is, so whatever. Not to mention that while it suggests you need God to be there to get anything out of life, there are, of course, plenty of ways that non-theists do exactly that. It is simply more meaningless garbage from a man who thinks that no philosophy can be a philosophy unless it does what he decides it should do. Fuck me.
And you see, it's in the Christian message of the cross that I see a God who's not remained distant from human suffering, but has become part of it.
That does not sound the way I think you wanted it to, mate. No, it's not that God doesn't care about suffering, it's that he's causing it. God damn, you, apparently, in a very literal sense.
And the resurrection then changes everything. Now, these are very deep issues and very deep questions, but
no to the ones you asked, and certainly you haven't even tried to answer anyone else's, so depth is irrelevant, leading me to believe you yourself are about as deep as a dried out cum splash. Oh, it's in my eye!
I find that they are the kind of approach that gives people hope. And that is a very important thing.
Hope is important, but you know what's more important? If he's not going to give any answers, neither am I. Bye!
Wait, before you go, I have something super important to tell you. It's life or death. It will change everything forever. Nope, wait, it's gone. Oh well, probably wasn't important. But while I have you, don't forget to comment, subscribe and notify. And if you want more of my smexy voice, check out Mrs. Six's channel Spoonstaff Stories, where I narrate and voice all the videos, and she does the work. And if you want to support the channel, check out the merch store for cool t-shirts, or check out Patreon, memberships and PayPal to support directly. Finally, follow me on the medias of social to get completely pointless guff and to keep up on the latest releases. Oh, I just remembered what I was going to tell you. Whatever you do, don't touch the